Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Ruff and I am head of Ruff Team Realty, and we are here to change the way that you structure your financial future so that you can become financially independent, and I'm going to show you some of the things to avoid to make you a lot more money. Canadian politics is in the news and real estate is the top of everybody's mind. Of the top G20 countries on earth and even the G7, Canada's property prices are rising faster than any other country. And so this is the #1 concern that is happening right now. And so even above coronavirus, which is crazy that we're even talking about that. So today we're going to be talking about the real estate in the 2021 Canadian election, but how that it can look at and how we can learn lessons from the United States and how they're working as well. So we have several parties in Canada. Canada has like a liberal and a conservative government similar to what the United States have. And now there's a couple other fringe governments. They're not always as popular. So the Liberal Party is the one that is in power right now. What they want to do is build, preserve, or repair 1.4 million new homes over the next 4 years. They want to increase supply, which is a good thing. Just remember though, 1.4 million homes, this is including all of the buildings that they already proposed to build over the next 4 years. The second thing here is doubling the first-time buyer's tax credit from $5,000 to $10,000, and they're going to give more loans and grants for rent-to-own projects. What does that actually mean? So the couple things that we have to break down here. This is a thing that seems very popular for first-time buyers when they're going to give the buyer's tax credit higher. What this actually does though is just push up housing prices even farther. So this has been tried in Canada, it's been tried in the United States, in most countries it's been tried. So if you have 100 buyers looking for that one home and you just helicopter in and hand everybody a whole bunch more money, that doesn't create more homes. It just pushes the price of that home up. So increasing the tax credit doesn't actually do anything to solve the problem. Also putting this extra money towards loans and grants, what this is normally is for areas that have prices in Canada below $500,000, and generally those are not the areas that are in the most trouble. We're in the most trouble in urban centers, in cities, where they cannot afford houses at all. So this will be geared to very low income people generally. So they want to create a new tax-free first-time savings account. Now this is going to allow you to save up a whole bunch of money and withdraw it tax-free. Great, it's a great thing. Again though, we are doing something similar to handing out this tax credit. When we hand out a tax credit, all it really does is push up the prices of the home, more money chasing the same number of goods. They want to introduce a home buyer's bill of rights, and this would include measures to criminalize blind bidding. So do we know what blind bidding is? Blind bidding is when there is an auction date on a home. Now we don't use that term in public, but as a realtor, we are using this all the time. So a property that may be worth $800,000, for example, will be listed on the market for $600,000. What does that do? It creates an enormous amount of attention. All these people will line up down the street to come look at it, sometimes 200 people in one weekend. Crazy, right? Lineups down the street. Okay, so everyone comes in, looks at the home, one after the other, and then they start bidding. So generally, there's going to be a mix of buyers, right, that are going to be looking at properties. We'll have new buyers, first time out, first time looking at a home. We'll have some seasoned and then some very tired buyers who've seen 100 properties. So those first-time buyers, those first-time lookers are going to say, well, I have a shot at getting this property $100,000 under what it's worth. And then you'll have the other more experienced people who are realizing that everybody's using this tactic to get these homes, list them extremely low, and when they list them extremely low, the prices are going to skyrocket up to what they're actually worth. So blind bidding is when we have that date. So say that they looked at the property for 1 week, we had 200 people come in, and they say we're accepting all offers on the Monday. You have no idea what all the other people are putting in offer. You have to put in your offer, make sure that it's a fair offer, and see if you're the lucky person to get that property. So that's where you have to lean a lot on your own education and on your realtor's experience. You need to have that. So this is a big one, okay? The blind bidding, they want to criminalize it. They want to ban blind bidding. So this would be a big one. Also, imposing a ban on new foreign ownership for 2 years. Canada historically has been one of the easiest countries to buy properties in. It absolutely skyrocketed after Hong Kong was handed back to China, the number of properties that were purchased in Canada from Hong Kong was astronomical because it's very easy to do so here. Even though it is so easy, the percentage is not a very big one. It comes up in the news a lot for foreign ownership. Though we do have higher taxes for foreign owners who will buy, a lot of this stuff is all voluntary. You can volunteer that you're a foreigner and have a vacant home here. But a lot of foreigners, they'll always put the properties through their family members' names who are already here, so they don't have to pay that new tax. This doesn't affect really the housing prices very much, but it's in the news a lot. So what you would experience the mostly with the Liberal Party is this Bill of Rights and blind bidding. So a lot of people say blind bidding is the problem. And that is a big thing. So if we look here, Australia is considered Canada's cousin. Let me just turn this on here. Australia is considered Canada's cousin. The countries are very, very similar. They're both Commonwealth countries. They have similar populations. But look at the crowds down the streets here. Left, right. All of these are buyers, you guys, all over. And in Australia, they don't have blind bidding. They have open bidding. Remember, you don't have an agent in Australia. In Australia, you actually go, the agent himself only represents the seller. He'll come out onto the street and they actually call it what it actually is. Did you see that? Auction on the sign. They'll come out and they'll start the bidding. All of these people are bidding on the prices. And that agent, they actually are like auctioneers. Do I have a million? Do I have a million 50? Do I have a million 1.1? Do I have it? Yeah, I have it over here. And they will keep going until they have the highest bid of the day. Now, this is what happens in Australia. I have family that lives in Australia. We go there and we see that all the time. So I've gone to these. It's very, very interesting for me as a realtor, but to know how other parts of the world work. If you go this and they start bidding down that street, they're very in each other's face, and that really creates a big sense of urgency to buy something. When this happens though, guess what? The numbers are almost identical to what it is in Canada. So it's not really the blind bidding process. The open bidding process also causes these prices to go way, way up. So it's something to think about, and you can go look at this on YouTube if you want and see how that's going to go. Our second party in Canada, the other biggest one, is the Conservative Party. And so what they want to do is build 1 million homes over the next 3 years. And they want to release 15% of government-owned real estate for new builds, converting them into rentals. Remember, guys, this is not a huge portion where government-owned real estate, where they're going to convert, but that might be able to help. They want to require municipalities receiving federal funding for public transit to increase density near that transit. That's kind of already happened. If you go up in Toronto, Canada, where I'm from, it has this massive tower. It goes up forever. It was the tallest tower in the world for a long time, till the Burj Dubai. But if you go up there, you'll actually be able to see the subway system. Did you believe that? See the subway system. If you look east to west, you'll see a whole tower of buildings and homes. A whole tower of buildings, homes. A whole tower of buildings. So the density around transit is already actually there. They also want to incentivize developers to help them defer capital gains. So this is again for companies, but conservative parties typically are there for companies. And they want to encourage new market in 7 to 10 year mortgages and reduce the need for mortgage stress tests. This mortgage stress test can be quite dangerous. If you do not have mortgage stress tests, you risk a chance of a lot of people defaulting if there ever is an economic big roller coaster. Ban on new foreign ownership for the next 2 years, same as the Liberal Party. If we go to the NDP, now this is one of a smaller party. They're not really in the running for federal election. They're not really very, very large in Canada, but they want to create a lot of affordable housing units for low-income people over the next 10 years, half of them within the first 5 years. So they want to preserve 1.7 million homes. What that means is they want to help with the homes to be rebuilt, new roofs, new insulation, and so forth. They want a 30-year term on Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation insured mortgages. So they want, this is the mortgage insurance for the United States. They want to double the existing home buyers tax credit. So this is similar to what the Liberals want to do, but by increasing that credit, remember, it's just more money chasing the same number of goods. And they want to impose a 20% tax on foreign home buyers. Again, like we had said on the other parties, this is not really a huge part of the market, but it does get a lot of press. So it doesn't change it as much. Green Party, this is the environmental party. They did get one seat 1 year. They're not too popular, but they want to also focus on low-income housing. 300 units over the next 10 years. It's not very much. They want to declare nationally housing emergency. But these guys are not really in the running for a majority government. So this is my take, you guys. My take is that they're all a little bit nuts. They all want to give lip service and they're not actually addressing the problem. So all of them have a lot of words. They all fall short. They have no plans to actually address the lack of supply that is driving affordability in Canada. In Canada, we build 275,000 homes per year anyway. This is just the way it is right now, with immigration at the same levels, with the same building supplies that we're doing. We're always building 275 a year and we're always short. We're in a chronic shortage. So when a government is going to tell you we will have 1 million homes in 4 years, well, we're already over 1 million homes in 4 years just the way it is. Remember, we have to see through some of the things that they're seeing, just try to deduce what they're actually coming to. If we're already over 1 million in the next 4 years and they said, well, we're going to have 1.2 million. Well, the difference might only be 100,000 homes is what you're saying is going to be the difference. And that's not enough. We need millions of more homes. So they're all falling short. Supply is the only answer. Supply is the only answer to fix this. So we're already building this. We need this number per year to be double, triple. So when governments are going to be talking about their 5-year plan, their 10-year plan, well, in 10 years, you should have 2.7 more million homes anyway. We need a lot more than that. I mean, supply is the answer for sure. So if we take this and move it out in Canada versus the United States, in Canada, 5% of the GDP is housing. In Canada, it's 10%. In the US, it's 5%. So this is very high. And it's in large part because of the regulations that are in Canada. If we look at Toronto, so that's where I am, it's a huge hub in Canada, right in Ontario. Most people know where Toronto is. In the past like 20 years, if we look at the prices of homes, it's pretty steady. Of course, there was a government blip here in 2017, but in 2017 is when they started to put taxes on foreign ownership, and so there was a blip. But if you look at what happened in the United States in the housing crisis, 2007 to 10, if we look in 2007 to 2010, it's pretty steady. Not much is happening here, but it's a pretty straight line up. And this follows with how much money printing is going on. Remember, in an economy, we're looking at the global picture. This is all properties, all homes sold over a 20-year period. When there are tough times, for example, 2007 to 2010, properties just kept on going. So everybody loves regulation during those times, right? Well, because of all the regulations, now all of a sudden home prices never go down. That's great. But when we're in boom times, all the companies and every builder is saying too much regulation is a bad thing, right? We're always trying to balance those two things. And so in Canada, especially in Toronto, you might have to have federal authority, provincial or state authority here in Canada, or the city authority, where they're going to limit how high you can build the buildings and so forth. We're being very general, obviously, but if you go to a place like New York City, New York, once you own that land, you do whatever you want with it. You can build a 300-story building on it if you want. Like, it's kind of like more up to you. And so what that happens is when you have more land, you can now have oversupply and undersupply. So when boom times are happening, a lot of people build thousands of units everywhere. And when you do that, the supply goes up and prices come down. So this is Toronto when you'll have a lot of regulation, very slow and steady. If you look at the prices, just slow and steady, up and up. But if we go to something like the United States, and we'll look at Manhattan here, for example, 1989 to 2021, look at the prices from 400,000. They peaked right around the housing bubble here, and a big crash. Now, what is that crash? Look at the prices, you guys. 1.7 million, just dropping down to 1.3. That's a huge percentage of a drop. More jagged. So when we're in an area that does not have as much regulation, we have a smoother line. But when we have less regulation, well, it'll be more jagged all over the place. And we can also see coming into Corona time, prices went from 2.2 million just to about 1.7. Huge drops in prices, but more swings. So that's what you have to pay attention to. These are the two different types of government kind of thing. More regulation, less regulation. This is my take on it. All economics, all over the world, all economies all over the world, any company all over the world, it's supply and demand. That's it. It doesn't matter if we're talking about masks for coronavirus. It doesn't matter if we're talking about houses, cars. If you have more supply, housing, the prices will come down. More houses mean the prices will come down. And so what do we do? Because we're all complaining about demand. All these governments want to talk about financialization and making these rules and adding extra money, printing extra money, QE infinity, giving out free cash. That does not fix the supply issue. We need to fix the supply issue. It's the only answer. Tale as old as time. All economics is supply and demand. If you ever want us for anything, you could always reach out to us at ruffteamrealty.com. We're happy to help you. We help people buy, sell, and invest in properties in the Greater Toronto area. So that area covers everywhere from Oshawa to Hamilton up to Barrie, 60 square miles, 100 square kilometers, covers about 6 million people. And that's what we do every single day. If you like this content, why don't you leave a little comment, smash that like button for us, and subscribe. Tell one friend if you got any value out of this. Just send this video to one friend. We would really appreciate it. You can also follow us on our new podcast, which is the Science of Real Estate podcast. We put out our 11th episode this week, and this will be here every single week. We look forward to helping you in the near future.